On a cold winter morning in 1961, in the state of Tennessee, USA, a 26-year-old woman filed a missing person report for her husband, who had not returned home. The husband, George Carroll, disappeared without a trace before going to the Vietnam War. The police, citing the turmoil of the time, said George had most likely gone AWOL and never returned. The case was closed. Years passed, but his family always believed he would come back. However, there were no letters, no traces, no official records. By 2018, George's youngest son, Michael Carroll, now in his early 60s, had spent his childhood without a father. One day, while making repairs in the basement of their home, Michael noticed a collapse in the ground. The soil was soft, as if something had been buried there before. Troubled by this feeling, he decided to dig on the property. As he dug, a strong odor emerged. Finally, he uncovered a human skeleton. The police were called, and the FBI stepped in. Through dental records and DNA testing, the remains were confirmed to belong to George Carroll, who had been missing for 52 years. The case was reopened, but the most shocking truth came from the autopsy. George Carroll had been killed by a blow to the head with a blunt object. He had been murdered and secretly buried in the basement. As the investigation deepened, the family's past was scrutinized. George's wife, Dorothy Carroll, had struggled to raise the children at the time and was constantly arguing with George. Old neighborhood witnesses recalled frequent violent quarrels, saying George had run away from home several times. But the most critical clue came from a man who had been close to the family at the time, Joseph Shipp. Joseph had worked with George at the same factory in 1961 before moving away. In an interview years later, he said, "That night, someone went to George's house. Then he never came back. When he didn't show up for work the next morning, we said, something happened to him. But no one listened." With this statement, the case was reopened once more. Thanks to Joseph's insistence, old records and witnesses were revisited. The conclusion: Dorothy's brother had gotten into a fight with George. During an argument one night at the house, he allegedly struck George with a club. Dorothy panicked, and with her brother's help, buried the body in the basement. As years went by, everyone remained silent. The children grew up. The mother developed Alzheimer's and could no longer remember the past. But thanks to Michael Carroll and Joseph Shipp, who refused to remain silent at the time, the 52-year-old mysterious disappearance and murder finally came to light.